and win this football game.
Intercepted. It's over, baby. The Raiders are in a chase for the playoffs.
Jack fires a Hail Mary into the end zone. It's a massive jump ball, and the Minnesota Vikings come up with a big W.
What a week. 10 one-possession games so far, and arguably the best game of the week coming up. A special hello to all of you veterans out there. Welcome to NFL Total Access, presented by Bridgestone with Scott Hansen. I'm Lindsay Rose.
Sunday's action, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fire.
Fire. It was
fire.
lit. From start to finish.
That's a very you word, too.
It went down to Sunday Night Football. The Vikings at the Cowboys. Couple of NFC playoff hopefuls. How great has Dalvin Cook been? 4th down, trying to get the lead. He pops it in off the right side. Vikings had the lead late in the 4th quarter. Final drive, or one of the final drives for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott on 4th down. They need a touchdown to win the game. Goes outside. Knocked away by Eric Kendricks. Take another look at it. They actually ran the ball on 2nd and 3rd down. A little bit controversial there. Vikings with a huge road win, 28-24. Dak asked about the play calling afterwards.
I mean, you got to go back and look at the situation, right? You don't want to leave too much time on the clock for them. So I'm not going to question the play calling. There were opportunities. We've just got to do better and execute those plays. Simple as that. And every guy in that locker room would say that.
All right, with Hall of Famer LaDainian Tomlinson alongside Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He dialed up Zeke's number on 2nd and 3rd down. It burned about 50 seconds of clock as well when Dak was really throwing the football nice. Take your pick. What did the Vikings do to stop Zeke, or was it just bad play calling at the end that they shouldn't even have gone to?
Actually, it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because at the end, it was some bad play calling. You would think with the way that Dak was throwing the football, especially connecting with Amari, they would do a little bit more of that at the end of the game. But you got to give credit to the Minnesota Vikings defensive line. They actually control the offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys up front. And I just thought the Cowboys running the football was too predictable. Kellen Moore has to be a little bit more creative when he's running the football with Ezekiel. Everybody knows these formations now. They have had time to watch the Cowboys offense with this offensive line and know these formations, know what runs they like to run out of these formations. So you're going to have to be a little bit more creative going forward. Another thing that was mind-boggling to me is not using Zeke out the backfield when this is not happening. The run game is not happening for him. Why not get Zeke out the backfield to try to create some mismatches? You can use Zeke in multiple ways, not just running the football with him.
Zeke in the running game, just 2.4 yards per carry. That's not an Ezekiel Elliott-type line there. Let's go from one Hall of Famer to another right now. Let's bring in Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, who joins us live from the site of Monday Night Football tonight. I know you got a huge one there, but let's talk about the Cowboys, Kurt, first. Dak had a rating of 101, very solid game for him. What did he show you last night?
Well, I tell you what, guys, I mean, I thought he played a great football game, and we've been wondering for a long time, hey, if Dallas can't run the football against a good football team, can Dak carry this team? Well, he showed you last night that he could. That's against a good defense, but he went up and down the field. He made throw after throw. When things weren't there, he bought time. I thought he was even more special on the run than he was inside the pocket. I think the most amazing thing, and you guys are kind of talking about the last couple minutes there, is that's when Dak's been his best throughout his career. Last 2 minutes, you need a game-winning drive. Put it in his hands. He's been as good as anybody in the National Football League. Why they took it out of his hands last night late in the game when they weren't having any success running the football, it has me questioning a lot of things there. I thought they should have kept it in his hands, do what's working. Minnesota was stacking the box, and unfortunately it cost him a win.
There's some celebration in Minneapolis and all sort of second-guessing in the Metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth area today. But let's talk about the game that's going to go on behind you. The atmosphere for Monday Night Football should be phenomenal. Russell Wilson, maybe the leading MVP candidate against one of the best defenses in the NFL, certainly the best defense in the NFC and the Niners. How can Russ have success tonight, Kurt?
Well, I tell you what, I can't wait to watch this in person. As you said, what a great matchup. But I think it starts with when you look at Seattle, they want to run the football first. They want to come downhill and be physical with Chris Carson. That's where it has to start tonight. You've got to get those 4 guys up front, 5 guys up front for the 49ers to think run and not think pass. If you're going to drop back and hold the football and try to throw it down the field, they are going to come after you. The second part of this is that the back end of the 49ers defense, because they're so good up front, They love to play downhill. They love to attack the football because they don't believe you can hold it long enough to get behind them. If you can run the football and get some play actions, it may give you some opportunity to get some double moves and some second-level throws, which is going to be key tonight.
Kurt Warner, enjoy the game. It's one of the games of the year, at least on paper. Hope it lives up to it in the 60 minutes of game action. We'll see you again on NFL Total Access on Wednesday, Kurt. Lindsay?
Huge playoff implications in this one tonight. Seahawks sitting in a wild card spot right now, well within striking distance of the NFC West lead, though also the race for the number 1 seed, which the Packers and Saints are also in, though that latter team didn't help their chances yesterday. A massive slip-up against the now 2-win Atlanta Falcons, who changed up their coaching assignments during the week in search of a spark. Well, they got one in a big way. Went from 7 sacks on the season to 13 in one game against Drew Brees. That is 6 sacks if you can't do the math. No touchdowns allowed. That has never happened to a Drew Brees-led Saints offense in New Orleans. This thing was not close, 26-9 for Atlanta. And then there was that Tennessee-Kansas City game with Patrick Mahomes back under center. James Jones told us last week on Total Access it wouldn't matter. Titans would win anyway, and the Titans won anyway. With 3 seconds left on a blocked field goal attempt by Joshua Kalu, who said his phone blew up after this. Got more text messages about it than anything else before in his entire life. A huge win for Tennessee.
Come here.
And that win by Tennessee affected a lot more than Tennessee. I'm guessing that Willie McGinnis, former team in New England, didn't mind it from a playoff seeding standpoint, and I'm pretty sure that David Carr's family didn't mind it either.
We did not.
No? Raiders just a half game back now in the AFC West?
It was a great afternoon in the Carr household.
Is that run defense going to be an issue for KC?
Well, you talked about big picture for a lot of teams, but I think big picture for the Chiefs is an issue because against Minnesota, they stopped the zone run really well. What Willie talks about all the time, bookend, stuff it, get up the field. It really was non-existent. Dalvin Cook struggled, but Derrick Henry ran downhill. They were coming straight at these guys, completely different type scheme, and you got a defensive tackle running the football, basically. But this is a bad sign if you're a Chiefs fan because now you get into a situation where you're just going to have to outscore everybody because this is on film, and it wasn't great. And then the other thing that was great about this is Ryan Tannehill actually stepped up and made some tremendous plays. And we can talk all we want about the run game, and it was fantastic. But when he needed it the most, he made huge plays. This last drive right here to win the game, they play man-to-man coverage. They're going to challenge the receivers on the outside. And what happens when you play man-to-man coverage? Although it is tight coverage, there's no one on the quarterback. So if he can find a lane to step up in, find a crease, he can scoot. And he does a great job showing patience, not running into the blocker, and then stepping up the field and made a huge run here. And we don't slide inside 3 minutes as quarterbacks, okay? That's just the toughest thing. Anyway, get down to the last play. Right before they score, they go too deep, man underneath again. There's no one on the quarterback. They're going to play too high over the top. They're going to try to play inside leverage, but Humphreys right here in the slot just destroys the nickel. Fantastic route, and this is an even better throw by Ryan Tannehill because you shouldn't be able to get in there, but he does get in there, and it leads to a big play. Then they get the 2-point conversion where Ryan Tannehill tries to run someone over it again. So it was a fantastic physical performance because the Tennessee Titans basically just beat up the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what we saw happen. That's going to be a common
And
theme.
they did that without Jarrell Casey, your cousin, without Malcolm Butler on the back end. They didn't have Corey Davis. They didn't have Delaney Walker. They had guys scoring whose names I literally learned yesterday. And so did the Falcons, frankly. Anyone start Brian Hill on your fantasy team? Because he found the end zone and no one did for the Saints. What happened there, Willie?
How about a little defense? Dan Quinn said earlier in the year that I'm going to spend more time with the defensive linemen and the pass rushers. And they did make a change at the secondary with the play calls and different things. But if you can get after the quarterback and you can make him uncomfortable in the pocket, then you got a chance. So when you watch what the Falcons did, this is only a 3-man rush, which means we're sending 8 people in the coverage, folks. That's how good Drew Brees is. Here's a 3-man vice at the top for Michael Thomas. That's how good he is. He's pretty much got 3 guys. When Drew looks, he's not open. So you got to get to the sticks. Dumping it down to the running back does not help you. You need a first down right here. It's 3rd and long or 4th and long. They're going for it right here. Everybody is accounted for. Gives Grady Jarrett enough time to get there, okay? So we tried it with the 3-man. Here's a 4-man rush. So that means we're going to drop 7 in the coverage. They do a great job right here playing a man-on-man concept with the safety over the top. They're passing crosses. The guy's not open right now. Drew Brees can't get the ball out of his hands. He can't step up in the pocket because guess what? Vic Beasley is coming up in the middle of the pocket, which quarterbacks hate. And I know you know this, David. They hate when guys get in the meat of the defense, in the middle of the defense, because they can't step up and deliver the ball. They did a great job of mixing great coverage and good pass rush.
Big win for Atlanta, though they did lose some players along the way. Ian Rappaport joining us now. What do you know about Austin Hooper and Devontae Freeman, Ian?
You mentioned the name Brian Hill, who, of course, was the running back for the Falcons down the stretch. Get to know that name. He's expected to be the starting running back for the team probably about the next 2 weeks. My understanding is that Devontae Freeman is slated to miss about that amount of time, 2 weeks with a foot sprain. This following an MRI today. It's actually a sprain that affects more of the toe than the actual foot, though it's not turf toe. A little complicated. Either way, it's relatively minor, so it's not going to be extended, but still about 2 weeks is what the Falcons hope. Meanwhile, for Austin Hooper, who actually leads all tight ends in the NFL with catches, has really come on in a contract year for the Falcons despite their lack of success on offense. He has an MCL sprain. He's actually getting his second opinion tomorrow just to determine how much time he is going to miss, but he is, in fact, expected to be off the field at least for a little bit. And then Marshawn Lattimore, one of the game's best cornerbacks, who, of course, locks up with a top receiver really on every team he faces, including Julio Jones. He has a hamstring injury, expected to be week to week, which means he also should miss time. Could loom large heading into a big matchup with Mike Evans and the Bucs next week.
Thank you, Ian. Another injury update to pass along. Matthew Stafford calling himself week to week with that back injury that kept him out yesterday. A surprise inactive that the NFL is now looking into. In fact, they're checking to make sure that the Lions reported it properly on the injury report. Matt Patricia says the quarterback wasn't downgraded once the MRI results came back negatively because they were trying to figure out a way for him to play safely. Lions with the Cowboys this week. Steelers have the Browns in Cleveland. First game of week 11
college
on
football
NFL
game.
Network.
There's
Also
a lot
Fox
of watches
and
in
Prime
person
Video,
as you
and
not
yet
think
if
to
James
go with Chris
Conner will
watches
play
in person as you.
We'll see.
In by Josh.
Now you get
To spend more time with the defense.
Going forward, do a little really throwing the football night coordinator for the coordinator. So look at it. One of the final.
Do it when he's running the football with Zeke for him. Why not get Zeke out the backfield?
You know, I think I'll be good, but no guarantees. But again, I'll make a lot of progress.
One guy we know we'll see in Week 11, that's Dwayne Haskins. The interim Redskins coach Bill Callahan says that he will be their starter for the rest of the season. They are 1-8. It's time to see what they have. After the break, gritty goal line stands, punishing stiff arms, and game-sealing interceptions. Find out which plays have Willie Mack saying,
Access
denied.
Oh, he broke his ankles.
The spin, the shades. We're breaking down the unstoppable Lamar Jackson. Plus, our resident Hall of Fame running back LaDainian Tomlinson on that two-headed monster in the Packers backfield. And who's the biggest competition for the 49ers in the NFC? NFL Total Access. Coming right back.
Take the edge off after those blazing hot wings and give your tongue a Pepsi bath. Your mouth deserves it, especially after a day of screaming at a wall of TVs. And at Frank, who invited him? Buffalo Wild Wings.
Now we're hosting. Your mom's off gluten now.
Is she?
Pick up the gifts you ordered online, and maybe a little something for yourself. That'll give you more time to work with those Ryobi tools, and more ways to work your magic. Get a Ryobi starter kit and get one of these tools free at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
We're Jack Daniels. The coldest, toastiest, merriest, whiskiest whiskey from Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Look. Only one thing's more exciting than getting a Lexus. Giving one. The Lexus December to Remember sales event.
Lease the 2020 NX 300 for $329 a month for 27 months.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
This Thursday night, the Steelers are invading Believe Land.
Let's go, Brownies! Let's go!
Baker, Odell, and Jarvis, the stars are here.
Ooh la la! I ain't scared. It's hard to undo 50 years of misery in one season.
Let's just say we woke up
Feeling pretty dangerous.
Ooh,
There's about to be more sad brownies in the elementary bake sale.
We got a W coming right up.
Steelers, Browns, Thursday at 8.
This is NFL Network, the place where football and culture collide. It's the collision of the GOATs and the MCs.
Tell me about the offensive side of the ball.
With the fashion in the food.
I promise you're going to love it here. Eat it.
Slammed in with the fans, the stands, and the 12th man. Mashed up with the music.
It's a real big culture moment right now.
And the movies.
I started watching the show years ago.
Mixed in with the X's and O's and the oohs and ahs.
Are you kidding me?
It's the fantasy.
You can't steer away from Hopkins, but you can certainly take Adams over.
And the reality. It's the access.
People are going to count us out every week.
And the attitude.
Say it to management or shut your mouth and put your money on the line.
It's the trash talk.
Go quick.
And the crazy talk.
Lamar Brick's got a pile. Let's go.
It's all here, all day, every day. Because there's no such thing as too much football.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him turn back and forth. Oh, he broke his ankles. Now he's got an entourage, and he's got a touchdown. He is Houdini. What a play. 47-yard touchdown run by the magical quarterback.
Lamar Jackson with the spin, the sprint, and the score.
Well, when he was back at Louisville, they would have referred to that as his Heisman moment. Lamar Jackson with the most spectacular of his 4 total touchdowns in the Ravens' blowout win over the Bengals. And you got to check out this in-game sideline conversation between Lamar and head coach John Harbaugh.
You know, most quarterbacks think about stats. I'm about my team, coach. You get his stats. That's why you're a leader. That's why you're hard. I love you too. That's why they love you. Yeah. That's why I love you too. I know, but no, I love the way you play too. Appreciate it. You just don't play. You just attack. All you do is attack. Play ball. That's all I know. Yep. I watch. That's how all my life. You know me, little kids in this country. You're wearing number 8 playing quarterback for the next 20 years. I can't wait to see it when I get older. But right now, I got to get right now. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Start with 1.
Wow, let's go inside the Game Center now, presented by Bridgestone. I've got DC and Willie here. I'm just going to open the floor to you two, and you can emote about one of the best weapons in football.
It really has been fun to watch, man. I mean, from where he's started to just being a running back, as they wanted to call him, to what he's developed into as a passer is really special. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of watch him develop. Early on, Kansas City, Cleveland, he had some rough days throwing the football, but he's gotten so much better. And as we watch the film, you kind of see him start to make veteran quarterback type plays. Watch the safety and watch Lamar. Lamar is going to move this guy to the left. And you watch the safety, he doesn't want to go. His hips are open. Now they're closed. I know I got someone over here really I got to worry about. And he rips it up the field because he held him. He did a great job. That's hard to do. Not a lot of guys are able to do that. But this is special. Some guys with the ability that Lamar has, in this situation, would just tuck it and run. Try and find a positive play. Watch Geno Atkins. He's got 100 sacks, it seems like. He's free to the quarterback. He sidesteps, keeps his eyes up the field. Now, this guy with all this athletic ability still decides to throw the football down the field, eyes up the field, trying to remain a passer. Fantastic stuff.
But he is a runner. He's a great runner. And we call this the Heisman package.
I love it.
Because we got 3 Heisman packages. Yeah, but guess what? This is the triple option. Here's the zone read to Ingram. He pulls it. He gets the D in to slap down. Not going to keep the ball. He's unselfish. He pitches it out. Okay, and here's just some of those design runs we talk about that Greg Roman has designed for him. You're going to pull the guard and you're going to pull the tackle. You're going to bring the running back over that holds the opposite end, and then you got a lead blocker. This is really a glorified quarterback power. We've seen Cam Newton do a lot of these. The difference between him last year and this year, he's not taking a lot of hits. He's taking care of the ball. He's getting down. He's getting the ball out, and he's keeping defenses off balance because they don't know if he's going to pull that and throw it or just take off. He makes quick, decisive decisions.
The all-time single-season quarterback rushing record is absolutely in play here, guys. Michael Vick is the current leader. Lamar needs to average 49 rushing yards a game. Do we think Michael might want to prepare himself for?
He might prepare himself
to go back into second place there.
Yeah,
we kind of think so. Lindsay?
Lamar, the 11th leading rusher in the league this year. Panthers have the number 1 guy in that category, and Aaron Rodgers' Packers have the guy who comes in at 17. Aaron Jones having himself a year. tied for the league lead in scrimmage touchdowns, by the way. He was actually in the lead for a little while in this game yesterday, but Christian McCaffrey answered back with a score. Couldn't get in for another one at the end, though. He was half an arm's reach away from the end zone. And the Packers win the first snow game of the year. How fun was this to watch? It was at Lambeau, 24-16.
I challenged the guys this week to get back to enjoying each other's company and having fun and the contagious energy that's been the staple of our team 9 weeks through the season that was lacking last week in L.A. I think we responded well. I think our defense definitely got a big chunk of confidence the way they played tonight. And offensively, I think the line deserves a lot of credit.
Also, those two backs who went for 93 and 63 on 13 carries apiece, Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, doing what they did in the snow, which they might see a little bit more of down the stretch. How do they together make this thing click for Green Bay?
They complement each other so well. They really do. I like to call Jones the slasher. He's the speedster. And Williams is the hammer. And in this new era of two-back systems, you need these two guys because sometimes the slasher might not be working and you just need that hammer, especially in 4-minute situations. But let's go to the film and let me show you why their skill set each works so well. Here's Aaron Jones. Watch him make a man miss in the backfield. Guys, it's unblocked. Comes right through. He's going to use his stiff arm, and then he's going to bounce to the outside. And this is what he does so well constantly. He always beats the first defender. And once he gets to the outside, like I said, he's a slasher. He knows how to use his speed. But look, you got 4 men around him, and he's still going to keep going for another 5 or 6 yards. That's just tough running. And then you got the hammer, Jamal Williams. He's not going to slash. He's just going to be straight down.